Hello, today we're going to look at planting up a container, and we're going to look at the various things that we need to consider to make these planted containers last for the whole season or even longer. So the first thing I want to talk about is the container itself. So I've got one here. Now if you've got a container, one of the most important things that you need to make sure is it's got a drainage hole. There are very few plants that like to sit in water and get waterlogged. So if your pot hasn't got a drainage hole, then put one in it. Okay, now the second thing is choose your container wisely. This is, I think, a concrete based container. It's relatively light and it is frost proof. It says it's frost proof. Well, we have to wait and see on some of these. You get frost resistant pots which will cope with some frost, and then you get frost proof pots, and then that should be okay to be left outside all winter long. Okay, so let's have a look at this pot. We're going to fill it in a moment with some plants, but we need to think about what we're going to put in this pot. Now, there's been an awful lot of discussion lately about putting crocks or some sort of material in the bottom of the pot to help drainage, and all the studies show that putting these crocks in or other materials actually gives no benefit whatsoever to the drainage. The most important thing is actually the contact with the pot on the surface you're putting it on. If I just turn this over here, you see that's quite a smooth area around there. So if I put that down on a very flat surface, there is nowhere for the water to run off. Now that's okay if you're you're looking after the watering of it, but there is a danger in all the rain that we've had recently that it can become waterlogged, and then it will need to be lifted off. The other alternative that you can do is pop it onto something that will free it from the ground. If you put it on something like gravel, it's absolutely fine because there will always be gaps around the edge, or you can pop it up onto those pot feet. So they're little things, you'll sit it up on there and there'll always be a gap and the excess water can run off. There is obviously the other side of it is that it doesn't retain the water, and sometimes you can put it into a saucer, so the water has run through the pot, it's run out, but then the plants can absorb it back in. So there is a balance really of making sure that you've got adequate drainage, but your plants are not going to sit in water for a long time. They won't like it. Okay, so let's go back to talking about those crocks. I still use something in the bottom of it. One of the reasons I do, I actually use some broken up polystyrene here. It's really to bulk it out. Some of these pots can be quite big. I'm going to put them in there now. And take a lot of compost. And compost, if you're not making your own, if you haven't got space to make your own, can be quite expensive. So this actually just takes up some of the volume of the pot, so you're not having to put quite so much compost to support your plant. Okay, so I think we've got enough there.